So, last weekend I found myself in the middle of what can only be described as the great prank debacle of 2023, courtesy of my roommate, Dave, and his questionable sense of humor. It all started innocently enough with the classic switcheroo. Dave swapped the sugar with salt, and I ended up with the most savory cup of coffee you could imagine. Not to be outdone, I retaliated by filling his shampoo bottle with mayonnaise, which resulted in his hair smelling like a deli special for a week. We were both convinced that our pranks were top-tier comedy, but little did we know, it was just the opening act. As the days went by, our pranks became more elaborate. Dave rigged the TV remote to switch channels every time I got invested in a show, while I meticulously arranged for the toaster to inject his morning bagel across the kitchen like a carb-loaded missile. We were like two prank ninjas locked in an eternal battle, each trying to outwit the other, but here's where things got interesting. Our pranks started to overlap in the most unexpected ways. One evening, Dave had planned to dye my bath water blue, but I had already swapped the shower head with a garden hose. The result? A flood of blue water that turned our bathroom into a scene from a Smurf movie. By the end of the week, we had somehow managed to prank ourselves into a corner. Dave's final masterpiece was to fill my bed with packing peanuts, thinking I'd have a late-night surprise. However, my counter-prank was to suspend a bucket of pink paint above his door, set to tip over when he walked in. The twist? His door led directly to my room because we had swapped nameplates earlier in the week. So, when I walked in to crash on what I thought was his packing peanut-free bed, I ended up drenched in pink paint, while he found himself knee-deep in styrofoam. As we sat there, covered in a mess of our own making, we finally realized that our pranks had effectively cancelled each other out, leaving us with nothing but laughter. It was a moment of sheer absurdity, where the only thing left to do was to laugh at the ridiculousness of it all. And that's when it hit us. Our pranks were a comedy act that had gone so far off the rails it was practically a circus. We both agreed to call a truce, but not before I told Dave, "Looks like we just pulled a prankster's paradox, when two wrongs make a right mess."